Okay, Shirley, would you call the roll, please?
Dean Cruz.
Here.
Kowalewski.
Here.
Ball. Here. Walker.
Here.
Steggy.
Here.
Brian Cruz.
Here.
Machinsky.
Yes.
Okay, on the meeting agenda for tonight, under Department and Committee reports, we have A, our Operation Services monthly report, B, Board of Review, C is the Downtown Development Authority report, with included in that is A, the Director's report, B, consideration of approval of resolution declaring its intent not to establish a Development Area Citizens Council following a receipt of petition, setting a date, time, and place for a public hearing, and rescinding all resolutions in conflict herewith. D is the Develop Filer Ad Hoc Committee report. E is the Personnel Committee report. In that report, you have item A, consideration of approval of the Personnel Committee's recommendation to increase the hourly wage of Paul Olin, maintenance, effective July 11th of 2019. And B, consideration of approval of the Personnel Committee's recommendation to increase the hourly wage of Tami Shonky, Secretary/Water and Sewer Billing Clerk, effective July 1st of 2019. G is the Zoning Administrator's report. H is the Planning Commission minutes. I, the Zoning Board of Appeals. J, Elections Commission. K is Building and Grounds Committee minutes. L, the PEG Commission. And M, the Fire Department. Under new business tonight, we have item A, consideration to hire a summer part-time maintenance person. B is consideration of approval for the Township Board to mail residents a survey postcard for the master plan at a cost of $350 for 1,500 postcards printed from Jackpine, plus cost of labels and postage. C is discussion on replacing the starter on the John Deere or purchase a new machine. D is consideration of approval to purchase a desk chair at Jackpine for Molly Whetstone, assessor, at a cost of no more than $350. And E is consideration of approval to purchase a lockbox for Larry Thompson, zoning administrator, for his mail. And if there are no other additions to the meeting agenda for tonight, I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Cruz, support by Steggy, to approve the meeting agenda for tonight. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Under the consent agenda for tonight, we have item A, the minutes of the regular board meeting held June 4th, 2019. B is the financial report. C is approval of the Township General Fund expenditures, including the Fire Department. Those checks are numbered 36699 through 36783. Accounts payable total $55,806.25. Payroll totals $14,128.13 for a grand total of $69,934.38. Item D is approval of Water Department expenditure checks 2506 through 2613, totaling $28,369.93. Item E is approval of sewer operating expenditure checks numbered 1039 and 1040, totaling $520.06. F is appointment of Matthew Johnson to the Downtown Development Authority for a one-year term ending December 31st of 2019. He was the only applicant, and there are currently 2 vacancies on the DDA. G is approval for the Ragnar Relay Michigan long-distance running race from Muskegon to Traverse City to pass on a course through Filer Township, and that event will be held September 27th and 28th of 2019. Under communication and announcements, we have item A, the Smart Trails May 13th, 2019 minutes. B is the MTA June 26th, 2019 minutes. C, Consumers Energy letter for the fire station lighting rebate. D is the SAW grant. E is household hazardous waste collection for 2019. And again, if there are no additions or deletions to the consent agenda, I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Kolineski, support by Brian Cruz to approve the consent agenda for tonight. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. No public tonight, no public comments, so let's go right into our meeting agenda. Under committee reports, you have your monthly report in your packet from Wade Trim. B, Board of Review is not met, but we'll be meeting week after next, I believe it is. In your packet, you have item C, your director's report for the Downtown Development Authority, and then B, the consideration of approval of a resolution declaring its intent to establish a development area citizens council following receipt of petition, setting a date, time, and place for a public hearing, and rescinding all resolutions in conflict herewith.
So at this time, we're taking that up.
Yeah, we need to do that at this point. And you've got a copy of the email from Richard regarding that. We did get the necessary signatures to abolish that Citizens Council. So basically what we have there then is a resolution declaring the intent to not establish a development area citizen council following receipt of the petition. And then we need to set a date, time, and place for a public hearing. And I believe in Richard's email, he suggested that we do that prior to the August meeting. Yeah. And our August meeting will be on the 6th. I don't believe they are.
That's a Saturday.
Yeah, the 6th would be the DDA meeting.
Your DDA meeting is the 6th.
So I'm kind of looking at probably doing it the Thursday before our board meeting or the Monday before our board meeting. Stay away from Friday probably.
For what?
Second for the public hearing.
Oh, no, he's-
Don't we have to
he's
set-
suggesting that we do it 15 minutes prior to our regular August.
Oh, immediately before.
Right.
Okay, I didn't read it that way. Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Perhaps just before, yeah,
the
okay.
August meeting.
Yeah, that makes more
So
sense.
it would be on the
6th, and to allow time, we'd probably do a 5:45.
Sure.
Tuesday, the 6th.
No, we're adopting a resolution setting the date and time for that public hearing.
Okay, we have a motion by Hitchinski, support by Brian Cruz to approve the resolution presented declaring its intent not to establish a development area citizens council and to hold a public hearing in that regard on Tuesday, August 6th at 5:45 p.m. Any other discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor, oh, you got to call roll, I'm sorry, yes. Call the roll, please, Shirley.
Okay. Dee Cruz?
Yes.
Malinsky?
Yes.
Wall? Yes. Walker?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brian Cruz? Jackowski?
Okay, item D, there was no meeting of the Filer Ad Hoc Committee,
On that committee,
no minutes.
when are we going to meet again?
I talked with Tamara after the DDA meeting tonight about setting that up. So, yeah, we do need to have another meeting of that committee.
Okay. Thank you.
And she was going to try and get something set up, probably start working on that within the next week or two. Under E, the Personnel Committee, item A is consideration of approval of the Personnel Committee's recommendation to increase the hourly wage of Paul Olin, maintenance person, effective July 11th of 2019.
I would make that motion with the starting date of the new rate of July 1.
And I will support that motion. And I forgot to mention to Tami when she put this in the packet, July 1 works a lot better for accounting and everything.
Yep.
So that's the reason for changing the date, the effective date of it.
Because they did know which one was on 11th and one was on 1st.
Yes, yes. So we have a motion by Ball, support by Walker to approve the Personnel Committee's recommendation to increase the hourly wage of Paul Olin, maintenance person, effective July 1st of 2019. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item B is consideration of approval of the Personnel Committee's recommendation to increase the hourly wage of Tami Shonky, Secretary, Water and Sewer Billing Clerk, effective July 1st of 2019. We have a motion by Cruz, support by Kolonowski to approve the Personnel Committee's recommendation to increase the hourly wage of Tami Shonky. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item G, I don't know about your packet. I don't have the zoning administrator's report in my packet.
Or perhaps you didn't turn it in.
So there is no report there. H, you do have the Planning Commission minutes from their special meeting of June 12th, as well as the minutes from the regular meeting on June 18th in your packet. And also the public hearing of June 18th is in your packet. The the Zoning Board of Appeals met, and you have those minutes in your packet from June 13th's hearing. And Elections Commission did not meet. The Building and Grounds Committee minutes from June 24th are in your packet. There is no PEG minutes in your packet. Barry, is there anything you wanted to present? Okay. And I don't have in my packet, we didn't get anything from Jim on the fire department. Did speak with Jim this past week on the phone. Kind of expected to see him here tonight, but I guess there is no report at this time. So that'll take us to new business. Item A is consideration to hire a summer part-time maintenance person. You have that application in your packet, and I'm going to ask that everybody pull that out after the meeting tonight, pull that out and give it to Shirley so she can run it through, because I noticed it wasn't redacted. His social number is on there. We don't want that floating around. So if you'll just pull out of your packets when we're done,
Give me the application.
the application sheet, and she can run it through the shredder. Because his social number should have been redacted.
Anything written up?
Pardon me?
If we want anything written up, you can go on.
Well, we need to do that. Pardon me?
I move that we hire Mike for part-time.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Hachinsky, support by Dean Cruz, to approve the hire of Michael Tyree for a part-time maintenance position. Any discussion?
Effective. Start
Oh,
date.
he's starting, yes, effective this coming Monday, which would be the 8th.
July 8th?
Yes, July 8th.
Passed all his
Yeah, his drug screening and physical were passed. I did check references, and I've never gotten such glowing reports when I've contacted references before. Basically was told flat out from an employer that he worked for up in Interlock in a nursery that we'd be missing the boat. We'd regret it if we didn't hire him. And he was very impressive when we interviewed him as well. So
At a rate of?
at a rate of $12 per hour is what I believe was the recommendation of the Planning Commission.
For a period of how long?
It-
Starting and ending?
Well, the starting date will be
July 8th?
July 8th. The ending date will be tentative mid-November. He has been working in Florida the past several years at a place that he said his plans right now are to return to. It'd be mid-November.
No longer than November 15th.
Well, if he can stay longer, and if the weather's conducive to doing our autumn olive removal at Magoon Creek, I'd like to have him working on that as long as he can. So I'd say let's say the end of November.
Okay.
If from my conversation with him, I don't think he's going to be able to stay that long. But I told him I'd like him to work just as long as he can into November, as long as the weather holds.
July.
Pardon me?
Normally they would start in June, maybe May.
Yeah, and that work at Magoon we can't really do until September anyway. But there's a lot of other stuff that, some other work at Magoon and here in Oak Hill that he can be doing. Okay, item,
No vote?
oh yeah, I'm sorry, thank you. We have a motion by Cruz, support by Hachinsky, I believe. Oh, motion by Hachinsky, support by Cruz to approve the hire of Michael Tyree. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. B is consideration of approval for the Township Board to mail residents a survey postcard for the master plan at a cost of $350 for 1,500 postcards printed from Jackpine, plus cost of labels and postage.
I will make a motion to do that.
Okay, we have a motion by Steggy, support by Dean Cruz to approve the mailing survey postcards to residents regarding our master plan at a cost of $315 for 1,500 postcards and plus cost of labels and postage. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item C, discussion on replacing a starter on the John Deere tractor or purchase a new machine. And the last few days I've been doing a little bit of research on that. I did look at machines while I was in Leadington on yesterday and took some pictures and got some costs, and then I went online and looked at, and those were not commercial machines, those were residential type machines, running from about $1,500 to $3,000. I looked at commercial machines, and the X-Mark that we purchased from Freeman Creek, and I don't recall if that was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, something on that order can be purchased for the neighborhood of $4,000 to $6,000. But then I got talking with our maintenance person too about the need. Mainly what we're looking at is for the work, particularly at Magoon, where you've got a lot of uneven terrain, and then cutting along the edge of the roadway, going in a lot of gravel and stone, cutting at Sunling Park where there's sand and that, just trying to save the wear and tear on our X-Mark, keep that for this neighborhood up here. But talked a little bit with Paul. I want to have some further discussions with him and also with Bob Skier, our Building and Grounds Chair, about the direction that we want to go, because I've been having some second thoughts on that. So I guess at this time I'm going to look just to table this, and I'm also going to pursue having a small engine repair shop take another look at our John Deere and see if it is in fact the starter or if it's something else, because Paul did use it this morning. It started for him out of Magoon, but sometimes it doesn't. So I guess before we do a purchase, although I guess we won't be meeting until August, and it would be getting through until then, which might mean 2 or 3 more cuttings out at the parks out there. I guess I would maybe, in light of that, maybe we should have an approval for an up to or a not to exceed amount for purchase of a new machine. And I really think it should be a commercial machine because of the amount of use that it's going to get. I did look at the one that we went in on with the fire department several years ago to purchase that. I think it was Marlene's uncle's used Craftsman tractor, but it's, you know, I looked at that yesterday over there, and I don't see that that's going to hold up under a lot of heavy use. It's ideal for what it's being used for right now, and that's just cutting at the fire department. So we may end up purchasing another machine, but I want to do more research on it. And when I looked at the commercial machines on Freeman Creek's website and recall that we spent $6,000 something for that machine, I guess I would entertain a motion for a not to exceed amount, and then if we can get the John Deere working to get us through another year, we'll do it. If something like on the order of a brush hog or something like that could serve our purposes out at the parks, we'll go that route. But I guess I want to do a little more research, but we may need to make a purchase before the August meeting. So that's my thoughts.
So what are you calling this, a lawnmower?
Lawn tractor, or comparable grass/weed cutting machine.
So if you get something over brush hog, there's a whole lot more money.
Okay, maybe I'm not using the right word, brush hog. I'm thinking of either a self-propelled or a push, you know, with a deck with like the weed whip kind of a thing. What's that called?
thought the brush hog had a 3-point video up the back.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, no. We don't have anything to operate that off from anyway, so, right,
Purchase the tractor.
right. No, that, what I'm thinking of would be a lot less money than like the X-Mark we purchased several years ago.
How old is this John Deere?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you. It's old. It's very old. We've had that deck welded, and that, I think that's a commercial grade machine, you know, with the heavier deck on it, and I think we've had it welded twice since I've been here.
I don't think we should put much money into that.
Well, and that's the thought, you know, I did get a quote on a starter, a new starter was $600 and some or $500 and some dollars, and then installation was gonna be another $100 and some, and I said, no, we're not gonna put between $600 and $700 into it. You know, if we can get something, or if we can get it, if it's not the starter, we can get it repaired for less money than that. You know, if we can get it repaired for about half of that, I'd consider repairing it to get us through another season. So
For a not to exceed amount of about $6,000.
right, something in that neighborhood, 6,000, 6,500. I know we paid six something for the X-Mark, and I don't believe for what we need, you know, it could be a machine, something less, a little bit less than that. Or we could get the same kind of a machine and use that for all of our properties up here and move the, whatever it is, 3-year-old X-Mark to doing our parks. Takes more of a beating.
Cutting out of gravel, might as well keep the new one up front.
Yeah, right.
I'll make a motion. We purchase a new unit not to exceed 6,500.
I'll second that.
Okay. We've got a motion by Brian Cruz and supported by Steggy to purchase a new machine for maintaining the grounds in the township at a cost not to exceed $6,500. Any other discussion? Want to do a roll call, please, Shirley?
Dean Cruz?
Yes.
Steggy?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Brian Cruz?
Yes.
Paul? Yes. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Okay, item D is consideration of approval to purchase a desk chair at Jackpine for Molly Whetstone, assessor, at a cost not to exceed $350. I think it was either last week, Wednesday, or the week before when Molly was in, she requested that, and I did look at her chair, and it's, she can't slide from her station across to the computer that she uses in there, across that wood floor without marring the wood floor up a great deal, because the casters on it don't work like they should. That was a chair that we purchased used when we purchased a lot of that office equipment from Kowalski Distributing, and so that was the reason for putting this in your packet. Then I started thinking about that too, and I thought, you know, for the 2 days a month that Molly's here and works down there, you know, and I asked her about the kind of chair, do you want one with arms? And she said, no, I don't need anything fancy, just like this one I've got, but so the wheels work. And so I went online and looked at chairs at Jackpine, and they're pretty pricey. And then I looked at, you can also buy replacement casters for those desk chairs. So I went down to her office and flipped the chair over, and yeah, those are, you can pull them out and they're replaceable. So if I can get casters that'll fit, you know, the fitting underneath, the right diameter, I'll just do that.
Chair looks good, and
Yeah, the chair's okay, yeah,
Well, while you're
back's
at
fine
it,
and everything, so.
the chair over there at that old zoning desk is in the same pickle, you can hardly move it.
Okay.
So while you're doing
Sure.
caster replacement,
Okay,
I'll make a motion to Terry, if you can find the proper size casters to fit the existing chair. Purchase them.
Well, those won't be very much. It'll be just like a common replacement.
Yeah, I didn't look at the prices on them, I just saw that and thought, oh, this is the way to go. And I mean, they weren't that costly, so.
So that, you need a motion or you wanna do that?
Brian just made a motion, and I'll, okay,
Now, we
Tom
don't know
supported,
how much they
okay,
even are.
I would say judgment of the supervisor.
yeah. Okay, so we have a motion by Brian Cruz and support by Hachinsky to approve the supervisor purchasing at his discretion replacement wheels for the 2 office chairs, Molly's and the one that's in the old zoning office. And yeah, I thought maybe I'd put pictures on there. I had pictures of everything else, but I didn't have that. Okay, any other discussion on
And
that?
what if you can't? Then do you want approval to get the chair?
I think that should be in that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's not a huge issue. You know, she can probably get by for another month if the casters don't, if I can't find the casters for it. I gotta believe I think that's a pretty typical office chair. I would think we'd be able to
Probably, they're
get
probably
replacement
used chairs
casters.
that you can find
Yeah.
replacement parts for.
So if I can't, then I'll come back to the board with that. Okay, all those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item E is consideration of approval to purchase a lockbox for Larry Thompson, zoning administrator, for his mail. Larry also asked me about that just about a week or 10 days ago because with all the activity, there's a lot of times that special use permits are coming in, different types of permits that, you know, with just 2 days in the office, wants to make it easier for people to drop them off down there, for him to get them when he's in the office. And so I did, when I was at in Langton the other day, I went into, while I was looking at lawn tractors and everything else, I did find a lockbox there, and I think it'll work well. It's not near as big as the one we have out here. It's you know, it's deep enough and wide and tall enough to handle you know, 8.5 by 11 sheets or 8.5 by 14 sheets, and it's a lockable again, and it'll mount to a wall, so we can mount it to the wall down there, and its price is $29.97.
$29?
$29.97.
Can I see it?
Yes.
Well, that's,
You can blow that up if you want to.
Building, right?
Yes.
And then he'll have the key to get in.
Yes.
well, we'll also have to have the keys to get in, because in case people put other things in there.
Yeah, we can get duplicate keys, but
Yeah, and it should
It's-
be labeled zoning materials only, so people don't go putting water bills in there and tax bills in there and
They don't
ballots.
come there to pay the water bill.
Yeah, but if they see something, you know, they could put it in there and they won't see it for days.
yeah, this is a oil rubbed bronze wall mounted mailbox, basically.
I need a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Dean Cruz, support by Brian Cruz, to approve the purchase of a lockbox for Larry Thompson at 2111 Nelson Street for a cost of $29.97.
Plus tax.
Well, township won't be taxed.
Should be.
No, I'll just pick it up, yeah. Oh, no. All those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And that reminds me, and I didn't do that in time to get it on the agenda. I guess I can do that under any other business to come before the board. That refrigerator for the one that died. in the
Yeah, I thought
garage.
of that just now, but I didn't want to ask
I
you.
got pictures, and yep, I did. research that, so. Public comment? Okay, hearing none. Anything else to come before the board? We'll shake it up a little bit tonight. Dale, you got anything else?
When are they starting the Fox Farm project? I thought that was going to be started.
I thought it was going to be started also, and I took a ride out there just about a week to 10 days ago to check, and was kind of surprised I didn't see anything, and I've got to get a hold of Mark Solon, get an update from him, because my understanding from what he told me, it was going to be June they were going to be starting that. I was hoping it would be later, you know, because of the heavy equipment going out there.
They're still moving quite a few of them big rocks.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
So
Yeah,
maybe it's just as well.
yeah. And I,
Talk to them, and that's one of the reasons they haven't started yet.
could be. And then, of course, the Amex also is going to be having heavy equipment out there to cap those wells. So. And I don't know if that's done yet or not. I anticipate that it's done. Okay, Brian, anything?
How going with that, about the Maroon Creek project?
I just got an email today from Tamara Jerkowski, and I just looked at it tonight while I was in the DDA meeting, and it's basically calling for any final updates, and then hopefully then they're going to approve it. And I did ask her about it when she was up last week, Wednesday. She was up here to do a site review on for our passport grant at the Oak Hill Park. And I asked her about the trust fund one, because I, had fully expected to hear long before now. And so she told me, she'd be getting some information to me, and then I said it was my understanding that those funds had to be used by the end of 2019. And she said, no, that grant is through 2020, which...
We were hoping to get it done this year.
Yeah, I was hoping to get it done this year, so there's, I know one or two things I got to do is add 2 more contact people on our trust fund grant, and so logical is to put you 2 on there, and so I'm gonna, I tried to do that already and couldn't understand the process to go through, so I'm going to be contacting Carlin Haas probably tomorrow, and him. She told me she could walk me through that process, so.
Is that something that
Yeah.
the board has got to vote on,
For what?
to put us on that?
No. It's basically like a contact person if they need information or something and right now I'm the only one on there and they can't track me down then. Okay. Dean, you got anything else?
No.
Tom?
Yeah, nice front door. New door installed, anybody notice that?
Oh, yes.
Except for one thing.
Gonna fix up on one thing?
Yeah, when I opened it up and it didn't close.
Okay, just a note on that. At our Building and Grounds meeting last Monday, it had just, the guy had just completed that, like that day or the day before, and he told Tami, and she let me know, that when that door doesn't, if it's not open very wide, if you just open a little bit and let it go, it won't, it's catching, and if it's open wide, it shuts fine.
Got to build up section is what it's doing.
Well, he and the contractor said that he thought part of it was the seals that stick down from the door are catching, and as they wear, at Building and Grounds, we looked at it, and Bob noticed that two of the screws in the threshold looks like they're sticking up just a teeny bit. And he said it might be catching on those too, and he was going to try and countersink those holes a little bit more, and and then put them in and see if it, so, yeah, for right now, if you're the last one out and you lock it, you want to make sure that it's latched.
And I also threw a dig a little while ago about the credit card. I think we should discuss that and act on it one way or another. Township needs a credit card for purchase
You
stuff like
don't
that.
have to have a motion to not do something. You only make motions to do something.
Then I'll make a motion that we get a credit card for township for purchases like this hot box.
It's $29. We're going to charge it at Jackpine.
But there's other things.
No, that's it. Home Depot. I'm sorry.
Oh, a credit card at Home Depot?
No,
Credit
Lockbox
card.
is something.
Oh,
A township credit card.
A township credit card. So that when we make purchases, it'll be a whole lot easier. We discussed it before, and we never ever acted on it.
it's not easier.
And I'll support the motion. So now we have a motion on the floor by Tom Achinsky, support by Walker to look into getting a township credit card. Now discussion. And don't forget to turn your mic on.
Minimal purchases, nothing major, maybe put a amount on there not to exceed without board approval. But setting up like meetings and stuff where one card, we go to MTA or whatever, can be used. Or minor purchases like mailboxes or, something minor.
It isn't that. It's the minor or the major isn't the question. It's the accounting work that goes along with it. $1 is as much trouble as 1,000. It's not like our home.
But what Shirley speak to if you were to purchase 2 or 3 or 4 things in 1 month's time, the difference in between writing checks for 3 or 4 purchases as opposed to writing 1 check for 3 or 4 items you put on a credit card. Like, I'm gonna bring up the refrigerator that we've got in the garage that doesn't work. I priced that at Home Depot also. So it'd be a case of, purchasing a couple things like that. So
All right, let's talk about that. If you had, for instance, a Home Depot credit card, and you would go there and you would buy a refrigerator. The refrigerator is going to be used here in Township Hall. And let's say we're going to go buy a chair for the assessor's office. So the assessor, that portion of the bill would have to be charged against the assessor category. So we would have to create a form that you would fill out, that you're telling me what you bought, when you bought it, and where it's going to be used. So when I would get that credit card bill, all of this has got to be entered into
The accounting system.
yes, it has to be charged. The credit card is all got to be picked apart and charged against each item. And I'm not going to know where that item is without the purchaser telling me.
Well, if it was bought individually, you'd still have to do the same thing. You'd have to know where it went, what it was for. If there was 5 items, wherever it was, you got to know who it's for, where it went, and how much it cost.
Right. But that does not rely on you filling out another form and giving it to me. Simply the invoice that comes in.
if we were to buy something, if I were to pick up that lockbox and pay for it myself, then I would turn in on my expense sheet, a receipt. So if you get say we have a Visa credit card, the township, so you get a credit card statement and it has on there, lockbox, purchased at Home Depot, and the amount.
Well, I couldn't pay the credit card without everybody having turned in all of their forms, have to get everybody's paperwork to be able to do that all at one time.
Well, it'd be no difference, every time you purchase something, you would get a receipt
The other
for
part-
that purchase.
The other part of it is for historical tracking. If I need to find purchases from Jackpine, for instance, I can go to Jackpine invoices. If it's tied up on a Visa card, then I don't have that ability to track it.
There'd still be an invoice for everything you bought.
No,
won't
not
it?
at, no. it's
If
all
I go
on
buy
it.
something from Home Depot, they'll give me a paid invoice or a
Yes,
receipt,
that says Home Depot.
and says what it is.
Right.
A 24-inch lawnmower, paid cash, or paid by check or Visa, then the Visa bill comes later. I still get a receipt showing me what I purchased, when and where.
Most townships that have it only use it for emergency purposes.
We don't have one for that.
We don't have very many purchases.
We did a lockbox last week.
I really don't think we're having a lots of emergency either.
Who would have control of the card?
Supervisor.
Yeah,
I'll make
I
that
think it
motion.
would have to be the supervisor or the clerk to be able to issue it.
And that isn't
You
going
know-
to do anybody else any good either. If you have to make a purchase and it's not the supervisor or the clerk.
Well, I think Brian's asking control.
Yes. Control.
If
Gotta have
the
control.
supervisor clerk had control of it and, you know, Tom's gonna be in Traverse City on Friday and he knows that we need this or that or the other thing and can, you know, take a look while he's up there to make a purchase like I was at Home Depot. You know, you'd get the credit card ahead of time and
Well, when the fire department got their television, Jim got me the price of the television, I gave him paperwork for the tax exemption, and he had no problem at all. Just did the check from where we wanted it.
It just took 6 months to do it.
Well, he had it on proper TV.
Oh, yeah, it's a hand rub. TV's all over the country.
any other discussion points? Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Let's see. You made a motion, John, I support the motion by Chinsky, support by Walker to get a township credit card.
From whom do you want to get the credit card?
And I guess, whether it's a Visa card or MasterCard.
Which bank?
Same place our checking account could be.
Well, yeah, we can do that, or we could keep it the township through the credit union. I suppose it'd make sense to get it at the bank that we do business with.
We didn't get a debit card.
Pardon?
Did we get a debit card instead of a credit card?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure.
So why not?
How would that work differently? I mean, you still have to make your entries, don't you?
Well, I don't know, I just thought of it now, I haven't
You
find out.
still need an approval on your purchase price anyhow, so.
Well, you have fewer safeguards when you use a debit card than if you use a credit card.
Use debit cards, yeah. You're saying that it's a little riskier?
You're going directly into the account.
Sure. I don't think we ought to debit card.
I mean, I don't think so.
Okay. If there's no other discussion, discussion. Let's vote. All those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Wait, we need a roll call.
Yeah, we'll do a roll call.
And we
Okay,
need to
do a
know
roll
which thing.
Well, probably PNC is,
PNC.
because that's where we've got the majority of our accounts.
What's the top amount? What's the,
If you're gonna get one, you should have a pretty good size,
Well,
because if you do need something.
pay it every month.
Well, the only other thing I was thinking is, and I guess, that's changed, it's possible to do something, we put a
MTA.
MTA conference, do them all at one time on one card, but now, the last 2 years we haven't been able to do that, we don't have to make reservations individually.
and then see,
But
for
you could-
tracking purposes, that's the other, we're all on, down there on a conference, and it's not easy to track everybody's individual expenditures.
Yeah, and something like that, individual expenditures, I think we would continue to just do what we've done, out of pocket, turn it and see. I was thinking for conference registrations, that sort of thing, but, you can't do that anymore where we've got it set up and, you're gonna pay one check anywhere at all. So,
We could do 1,000 or something like that, you can always up it if it works well. You know, or 1,500 or something if you think, or $2,000, but if it works well, up it, or if we don't need it. You can always move that around. Okay.
So do you want to add to your motion, Tom? That amount, maximum amount?
I'd say $2,500.
I'll support that. Okay. Sure, we'll call roll.
Kaczynski,
Yes.
Dean Bruce, Brian Bruce,
Yes.
Paul, no, Kalinowski, Steggy,
No,
Walker,
Yes.
or Davis.
So we try. If it doesn't work out. we go to work, see what happens.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else?
Refrigerator.
I'm not running a popularity contest right now.
The refrigerator.
Yeah, Tom, do you want to take care of the paperwork for?
not really, but I guess I'll have to.
Well, I got more, that's why I say,
Okay, go ahead. You got more?
I wanna put our employees on payroll from the 1st to the 15th, check them off instead of one check.
We're still looking into that.
Hourly, yeah.
You were getting a hold of,
We did,
Yeah.
we met with the accounting firm.
yeah, but they were supposed to get a hold of that one gal. That's in charge of it.
I was supposed to get in touch with Krista and
Krista.
talk to her and set up a meeting between
Yes.
us three and her, and then that's when things kind of went south with my mom, and so I haven't
Never
done
went there
that.
yet.
That's
Because the
something.
guy that we talked to couldn't make no decisions.
So we're still working on it.
Yes.
Yeah, I got to follow up on that. Are you sure?
Why, what else you want?
Tom?
Was there any discussion at the DDA meeting about them possibly paying the invoice from Wade Trim for that sewer engineering work?
No, actually, I had discussions with Brian Sousa today on that and about the SAW grant that's coming in, and asked him about putting that in our sewer operating, and he said he didn't see why we couldn't do that and pay that bill out of sewer operating.
Okay.
So what about the sub grant money? We just got that?
It's kind of being processed right now, the paperwork and everything.
Well, that's a whole separate thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
The
that's,
sub grant money is going to be separate, so what do we do with that money if we don't need it for bills?
well, and that was my discussion with Brian, since we, have closed out the accounts, we've paid, made the final payment to Elmer's almost. We're gonna have a little bit more, with the Continental Rental and Gilroy's.
We being the DDA?
The DDA is gonna have more and we're gonna have a little bit more. The little bit more we're gonna have right now is 3,000 for, let me give you the whole scoop. Elmer's was ready to connect the two businesses to the vault that's there, and then install grinder pumps from both businesses to pump it up to the elevation of the vault that is currently going to, and then connect a lateral to the city's main on Maywood, along Maywood, and that had already been approved last month at a cost of $37,000 some odd dollars for the laterals. The DDA approved that. Well, so Brian contacted them and told them to go ahead with the work, and they were going to be starting, Brian told me, on July 1st, and which they did yesterday, and they got there and found out that Continental Rental, their septic line goes under the flooring, under the concrete floors to Gilroy's and ties in with theirs and then comes out. And because it's two separate parcel numbers, two separate parcels, if we connected them, I printed out Brian's email because I can't remember all of the, basically it's going to require a lot more permitting by DEQ, because it would be considered a main then, a sewer main. Okay, here it is. So last week they found out that the two are connected to the same sewer drain. And this goes back to when it was Eberhardt's. So Elmer's found that the Continental Rental sewer runs to Gilroy's where they connect under the building, and then out of the building to the tanks in the back. This poses a problem since each building is a separate parcel number. Once a sewer has two or more users on it, it becomes a sewer main in the eyes of the DEQ. If we left this as is and connected them to the city sewer main, the drain lines between the connection to the city and to the building would need to become a public main. This would require getting a DEQ permit for the work to be done, easements granted to the township for the sewer, and a much more expensive pump station. So Elmer's is working to find out where the two drains connect, and will let us know what the cost changes might be if we need to separate the two sewer lines. So what we are looking at is, they quoted Brian a price of $3,000 to go in. They have to go into Continental Rental, cut the concrete floor, go down, find the sewer line, and find out how they can redirect it, separate it, redirect it out the back of the building, and run dye tests and all that sort of thing. So the cost that they gave Brian for doing that, that's just exploratory work to determine then, how they can proceed. That is $3,000. Once they make that determination, and Brian said, I can't give you a cost. Don't know what that's going to be. But it would, the $37,000 that was quoted by Elmer's, that included 2 pumps, and I asked him, are those 2 pumps gonna still cover it? And he said, yes. It's not gonna require any additional pumps. Like if they went the other route, it's gonna require a much larger pump. So, you know, the DDA, in our discussion of DDA, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, they suggested that we go ahead and have that exploratory work done to find out if they can connect. And then as soon as we know the cost figure, to let the DDA know, because that would be part of the lateral construction, which they committed to.
I don't see any way around it, really.
Well, there isn't, and I, you know, I did have discussions with Brian about, you know, do we just not connect them at this point in time? And, you know, it's probably not a good idea looking, you know, because we don't have a, you know, the magic ball to look into the future. They, you know, who knows what might come in there in the future, if they were to sell or whatever, what would be needed, and then you add into that also the costs are going to go up, obviously, cost of doing that kind of construction in the future, so.
Have they
he said, no,
talked
we should do it
to
now.
Continental about going in there and cutting through their concrete floor?
Well, I've got to assume that Elmer's would do that before.
Well, no, I just
before they
wondered
go
if
in.
they've had any discussions or that's what they're gonna do.
Have all the meters installed yet? I'm glad we didn't buy them other ones that sit on the shelf.
Well, and if you want history on that, I can give you history on that too.
Well, let's stick to what we're talking about first.
But, yeah,
No,
so,
I haven't gotten an answer to the question I had.
I mean, I can find out if Elmer's has had that discussion.
Well, no,
I mean, they're not.
My original question is, was the DDA gonna pay the 500 or whatever it was for the
Oh.
thing? And you said,
I-
in talking with Brian, he thinks we can pay it out of,
Right, right.
but he said out of the operating and maintenance fund, sewer operating and maintenance account.
Yes.
Okay, well, when I gave him the bank information for the SAW grant for the general fund. So the money's gonna come into the general fund, and it's evidently gonna have to be transferred somehow over to the sewer operating and maintenance then.
Well, I assume, yeah, that's, you know, but as far as answering your questions about the weight trim bill, I didn't present it to the DDA
Okay.
then after I got that answer from Brian.
Well, it's really not an issue that we've got some funds that we can touch that haven't been finalized by the auditor.
Well,
In the construction one, you mean?
Well, and,
but if the construction account's closed out, is
Yeah.
what my understanding
but I
is.
mean, you know,
It's not closed out, but we've paid all the,
It's been audited.
audited.
right.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and pay that then out of this operating and maintenance fund? Sewer operating and maintenance, the $500?
I think like that.
Okay.
And I didn't, you know, besides, you know, having that discussion with Brian, when I thought about it, you know, that was a construction cost, it wasn't a lateral cost, and they're.
No, I understand
committed to
that.
lateral costs.
So if we pay it out of the construction account, that's.
Yeah, that's been audited.
done. We don't really want to
Right.
touch that again if we
Right.
don't have to.
Okay.
But how soon do you get that money from the SAW grant, do you know?
I don't know. I've got to get back to Brian tomorrow. Well, and that, so we need to either approve or not approve. Elmer's going ahead with that $3,000 cost of exploratory work to make that connection for those last two businesses.
I'll support.
Okay, we've got a motion by Brian Crew, support by Achinsky, to approve the exploratory work for Elmer's to find out how to connect Continental Rental and Gilroy's. at a cost of $3,000. Any other discussion on that?
And this again would also be paid out of money from the SAW grant
Yeah,
and paid out of the
I don't know.
operations and
Can't
maintenance.
pay for it out of it, because the SAW grant was for sewer
Because this is,
construction.
and this is engineering.
This is an
This-
engineering cost that can be paid out of the SAW grant.
The 3,000.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Well, it's
It's kind of,
engineering
yeah.
because they have to get the information
Yeah.
to give to Brian.
Yeah. Not engineering in the true sense of the word, but it's
Well-
not construction
Well, it
in the
is.
true
It
sense of
is,
the word
it's
either.
just- it's-
Yeah, it's
So we're
exploratory.
agreed we can pay it out of the SAW grant?
Yeah. Do I do it? I'm gonna do it.
Kalinowski?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Stady?
Yes.
Brian Cruz?
Yes.
Paul? Yes. Steve Cruz? Chesky?
Okay, did you have anything else, Tom?
That was my only question.
And a question came up.
Oh, just about the meters.
Oh, okay, the meters, actually, the guy that was supposed to get us the meters, and I don't remember his last name, but a guy by the name of Steve that Mike was dealing with out in Montana, I believe it was, he got fired over that because it was just a big mess. He didn't get us the meters timely, or the ones that we needed, and finally Chris Johnson, president of Operation Services, contacted the head guy out there and had a long discussion with him, and he was told, he said, you will have your meters, and Mike said, they're coming in now, and Mike told me that this Steve fellow lost his job, and Chris Johnson was also offered by the head of the company out there to be a, what do you call it, where he would, yeah, he would
Sales rep?
be a rep for those meters as well, and I don't know if he accepted or not, but anyway, yeah, we're getting the meters now. And along that same line, we've had, I just found out today, we've had several more residential meters go bad, and Mike has been replacing those, but rather than replacing them with the old meters, he's replacing them with the updated remote meters.
The remote is working fine on the computer. Tammy can read them well.
I don't think we're doing that yet because they're not all connected, and we haven't had the guy come and
But they'll be
show her how to do that yet, but that's,
I'm capable of doing it.
yeah, so
I'll say.
you know, I wasn't aware that Mike was replacing the old meters, but it only makes sense, rather than, you know, we have to purchase the old style meter head, a new one, and install them, and then if we approve going over to the smart meters for all the residential, then he's gonna be replacing them again. So, he has started.
Does he have any ones sized for residential?
No, I think he's been ordering those as needed. So, but like I said, I just found that out today, this afternoon, so I haven't had a chance to talk to Mike about it yet. Okay, Shirley, you got anything else?
Just the refrigerator.
Okay, well, I did look, when I was at Home Depot at refrigerators, and there's a 3.3 cubic foot compact fridge that was $149 on sale for $118, and it's comparable to that one, only I would say bigger.
Yeah, we want it like apartment size, so we can put it out in the garage.
Yeah.
Instead of apartment, I can tell, you know, that's, because there's nothing to compare it to like a,
Well, and I've got a picture of another one
It
in there
looks
that's
like
bigger.
it looks like it to me, apartment style. Or one of them bigger ones.
It's
like
big.
that.
Well, that one stood about, I would say, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
somewhere,
It-
something that we can
It
get a
was
large
definitely
bottle
bigger
of.
than that one, yeah. It was definitely bigger than that one, but I also had, I also took, and that one is, like I said, 118, and then I Here's a picture of a larger one. And this one's a 4.5 cubic foot double door.
Need a double.
Mini fridge, well, I think it's a freezer
Oh,
fridge combination. And that one was $219 on sale for $178. And that shows you the refrigerator part on the bottom, and you can see on the top is the door for a freezer. But I don't know what we need a freezer. Yeah, and that one stood about that high, which I think is bigger than what we need. So, yeah,
Motion,
118.
we buy the $118.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Brian Cruz, support by Dale Kolonowski to purchase the 3.3 cubic foot compact fridge from Home Depot at a cost of $118. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, and that's all I have. I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Brian Cruz, support by Kolonowski to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.